Hi, I'm Nicole with MorningChores.com, and today we're discussing Food Storage 101 Part 2. Today's video is the second installment to our Food Storage 101 video series. So if you missed last week's video, I will have it linked in the description box below. If you're just jumping in on the bandwagon, to reiterate what we talked about last week, we talked about what food storage is, the benefits, the different types of food storage, and some factors to consider. In today's video, we're going to pick up right where we left off from last week and discuss how to begin your food storage system, as well as food organization and food rotation. It can always be a little intimidating starting something new. So that's why I wanted to cover where to begin in all this. What can I do to just truly get started? And this really begins with the factors that we covered in last week's video. Some of those factors are: what is the size of your family? What kind of budget are you working with? How much time do you have to invest in your food storage system? Do you have any dietary preferences? Are you gluten-free? Are you vegetarian? And what are your food storage goals? All of these things are going to affect how and where you begin. The next step is to choose which storage methods you want to participate in. So just to review, the different types of food storage methods are freezing, dehydration, fermentation, canning and home preserving, and buying in bulk. My advice for choosing a method is start with the easiest. What is easiest for you? Then once you get really good at that, then maybe you can venture into some of the more difficult methods for food storage. The next step is to buy the supplies that you need for the methods that you've chosen. So make sure you have what you need on hand for the task that you choose. Now it's time for the fun part, and that is purchasing the food. So you might be asking yourself, where do I buy things in bulk? Well, there's lots of options out there. I know we've already discussed going to the grocery store when they have a sale on canned goods. You can also hit up the grocery store when they have sales on frozen foods. As far as buying grains in bulk, like your rice and beans and oats, these things you might have to find a little bit differently. There are grocery stores that have bulk food sections. I know the grocery chain Whole Foods has this. My advice though is, if you want to buy in bulk to save money, don't do it through this method. That is probably the most expensive way to buy in bulk. But another option for buying in bulk is to go to your local health food store. I buy a lot of my bulk grains from my health food store. Now, they don't have them for sale in 25 to 50 pound bags on their floor, but I just asked them and they were more than happy to order these things for me. And then they gave me a discount for buying food in bulk. I live very close to an Amish community, and within that community, they have their own bulk food stores where they sell dry goods in very large quantities. I'm very fortunate to have this near me, but this is another option that you could seek out. If you don't have this near you, then another option is to look online. We have the wonderful internet where you can buy pretty much anything you want, including bulk food. I will leave a couple links in the description box below where you can order bulk grains through the internet. And the last place I wanted to mention is farmers markets and produce stands. So if you're wanting to buy fresh produce in bulk when it's in season so that you can stock it up in your freezer or home can and preserve it, this is another great option. I did want you to keep in mind though that when you go to these places, you can barter with them. They may say no, but if you mention how much you're wanting to buy and ask if they'd be willing to work with you and give you a deal, they more than likely will, because you're buying so much. So it never hurts to ask. I know what I'm about to say I've mentioned several times, but it is really important that you have the right supplies for the job. This is going to streamline your organization and make it much more efficient. The next step is choosing a storage space, and this is really going to depend on how much space you have available. But what I do want you to keep in mind when you're choosing your storage spaces is make sure you're choosing places that are cool, dry, and dark. These three elements will really encourage longer shelf life with your food. The next aspect of choosing a storage space that I want to introduce you to is dividing your spaces into levels. So for example, you have storage space level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1 would be your kitchen space. So this is where you have your pantry, your refrigerator, and your freezer in your kitchen. And I named this level 1 because this is the storage space for your food that you will use the most. And the reason you use it the most is because it's so close to where you're preparing and cooking the food. The other reason I named this level 1 is because this is the food that you want to use up first. So it's going to have the shortest shelf life. The next storage space is level 2. This is what I'd like to also call your extended pantry. So you may have a cupboard in your laundry room, an extra bedroom, or a basement. And this is food that doesn't necessarily need to be eaten up right away. So it has a little bit longer of a shelf life, maybe 6 months to a year. And then there's level 3. Not everyone needs a level 3, but if you feel it necessary, I wanted to throw it in there. This would be your emergency backup food. So let's say there's an emergency situation where the electricity goes out for a couple days or a week or something like that. This is what that food is for. So this food has the longest shelf life. This would be 1+ years. And the last thing that is really important in food organization is labeling. Label, label, label. But it is really important that when you're storing up food, whether you're freezing it, home canning it, dehydrating it, you make sure that you write what is inside and the date somewhere on the outside of the bag or the jar. So now we have our food organized. Now it's time to enjoy it and eat the food. This is the fun part, right? And as you eat the food up, you're gonna naturally learn to rotate your food. And this is where the different levels of your food storage system come into place. I know all of this can be a little overwhelming, but my advice is just focus on your level 1 food storage. So this would be in your kitchen. So just focus on keeping your kitchen pantry stocked, your refrigerator and your freezer stocked. And then once, for example, your pantry starts to look a little sparse, then you can reach into your level 2 pantry. So wherever that's at, whether it's in the laundry room or the basement, but now you can reach into level 2 pantry and pull things from there to stock your level 1 pantry. And this is gonna help you keep the food rotating. And then if you have a level 3, you can reach in there to restock level 2. So that when you go to put up new food, you'll know, hey, level 3 is getting a little bit low, so I need to restock food there. This is gonna help you keep the food rotating. The other really important thing with food rotation is to make sure that the food that is dated with the earliest date. So in other words, the oldest food. I hate to say oldest food, but to keep it straight, the oldest food needs to be stocked first. And the newest food needs to be stocked last. And the last piece of advice I can give for food rotation is eat what you store. You're gonna find as you get into this that you stored some food that you're just not eating. So just keep that in mind. Don't store that food again because it's not worth it. So make sure that you eat what you store. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. All the links that I referenced in today's video will be in the description box below. Be sure to also head over to morningchores.com where you'll find all kinds of information on crafts, DIY, homesteading, gardening, and much, much more.